Hey YouTube, you're with Tosh,
And Mudraker. Welcome
and
back.
we're now back in our TFC world. Yes. Okay, so we've cooked up that batch of stuff that was here, but we have had a failure. You do get these occasionally, but so all you need to do is just set it alight again and let it go. So right-clicking with that, we're putting some of these over here, and this time I will get to get rid of some of my stuff which I'm carrying around that I don't need. Put clay in there as well. And a little luminite for the moment. And we've been digging a bit.
We have.
So we now have a ginormous space. I'm not even sure that he's finished yet either. So, but that was, I think, probably, I don't know, 10, 15 shovels between us.
I thought you were counting in minutes, not shovels. But yes,
Uh,
about that. And a phenomenal number of stacks, about 9 stacks of gravel.
yes. Limestone makes really crappy tools.
It does. You,
Um,
you go through those in no time.
yeah, so, but at the moment, that's all we've got, so that's what we will live with. Hopefully, when our wandering begins, we will find some better, what's the word I'm looking for, better quality
Harder
rocks.
rocks.
Yeah, well, harder quality rocks, yeah. Granite's good,
And
that
it
tends
is,
to last for a while.
it's lovely.
So, I think it's the middle of the night again now, actually. Yep, 9 o'clock at night, so it will be dark out there. Um, we have dug a whole heap of stuff. One thing I did do was go back to back that way to where we spawned and had a look around, and I managed to get 3 more copper nuggets, which gives us the 10 that we need to actually make our first tool. And our first tool that we will make will be a pick. Or should we do a saw? Which do you reckon?
Well, a pick, because if you don't do a pick,
Oh, you can't get any more. Yeah, catch 22.
you have to go find another 10 pieces.
Yes, that's true.
Um,
So a pick is in clay. Now remember, we're doing the reverse of what we want. So we do this, like that, and that gives us a clay pick mould. Now that needs to be fired. So I'll pop that in there for the minute without getting too close to there. Um, and I'll make up a couple of other moulds. So we'll do two. Oh,
Now, Tosh, have this.
yep.
So what I did was I just took my stack of seaweed and put it in the crafting table with a knife, cut it in half. It's one of the nice things you can do in this game. So you just
Thank
cut it
you
in
very
half, so
much.
that'll be a little bit of food. Now,
Yep.
while you're stuffing around there, are you okay? You've got a mold there, right?
Yep.
Um,
I was going to make 4 moulds to fill it up. That was all I was going to show
all
them,
right.
the
Well,
clay pick and the
good plan, but don't,
pro pick.
maybe 3 molds because you actually need to put the copper in as well.
Picky.
Yeah. Now, while you're doing that, I'm just going to cook up some sand. Very slow process in a normal fire.
Yep.
Um,
But it gives you
but it gives
glass.
you glass, and
So,
glass is pretty much the only early game building material that's fire resistant that will stay where you put it. Which is
yes.
why we're going to use some glass so that we can get a fire pit going. Sorry, a fire pit,
Yep.
a charcoal pit.
Correct. Okay. There is the pro pick. Now the pro pick is what you use to find ores, and we will take you through the joys of pro picking.
But that, of course, is later.
But that's, yeah, that's the pattern that you need for one of those. So we'll make 2 of those, and we'll put one of them in there because, as Reiko so rightly pointed out, I need to use one of these by right-clicking on the ground with it in my hand, and I put my 10 ore in there. Then I put that into there, and then cover it with straw, right click, fill that up, and then I need to have, oh, that's a shame.
You need to have a shame. Okay.
I had 7 logs, of
Ah,
course, always the way, and 8 logs on top of that. I need to make myself a new fire starter because the other one broke, and we will set that ablaze. Okay, so that's now cooking up.
so, summary for day 1 and 2 then, Tosh, what you needed sticks and rocks. Your first 2 things to
Yep.
get. Start making yourself some tools. Then you need to get clay and straw so that
Yep.
you can start cooking things, get water sorted, get food sorted.
Yep.
And basically somewhere to
There you,
hide, which is pretty much where we're at. Then you start thinking
yeah,
about
like
storage, because that became our next problem.
choose these. So the large
Vessels.
vessels, yeah, and the big pots are your
Yeah.
two main storage things. The pots hold 4, the vessels hold 9 as per usual, but um, you can do 4 pots at once in a pit, but you can only do one of the large vessels. So it's again a bit of a trade-off.
Yeah,
You do,
I'm not a big fan of the pots because you actually got to pick them up to see what's in them.
yeah,
Whereas I like these ones because you can just open them up. And yeah, so that's my favourite until we get to the stage where we can make chests. So then
and carry them on your
that's
back.
true. And then once you got that,
These,
once you got the basics, next step is get 10 copper nuggets.
yeah,
That's basically it because you need that before you can actually get a pick to get any real copper.
that's correct. Now we know that where we found the copper nuggets is an indication that underneath those copper nuggets is copper. So once my pick is made, I shall be heading back up to our spawn point. And what we tend to do is, as you're collecting the nuggets, remember where you got them from, and either mark or remember the middle of that area. Because if you dig straight down, break all the rules, and dig straight down, you will find copper.
You can dig a little staircase in a pattern of 4. Though.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. And a spiral staircase.
Yeah. So if you're not using any sort of mapping tool to leave a mark where you find the nuggets, then one technique is just to put something, a block of dirt or a block of straw on the ground, so that you can stand back and go, oh, that's about the middle. Because your
Yes.
very first set, you're going to have to find the hard way.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, really, it's your first and second. The first one will get you the pick, and then you need to find either 10 more surface nuggets in order to build your pro pick, or if you're really smart and clever like we are and know exactly where the centre of that one is, because we have done this so many times before we didn't even bother to mark it, and work through from there as far as going down and finding it. Are you going to go any further, or are you just going to sort of stop
Well,
at
I
that?
thought what I might do, I thought I'd stop there because we can't actually go much further.
Yep.
But also, I thought I might actually turn this area, since there's a little cavern thing up there. I thought I might turn that into our charcoal pit area.
Yep.
And
That's a good idea.
put some glass over the top, and we just have we can climb up.
Yep. So we filled it with wood at the moment to start
Yeah,
with,
mostly to stop mobs off.
just to stop mobs from visiting. But yeah, as Raka said, we'll replace that wood with glass, leave one of them open, and we can turn this end into our charcoal pit. And we will explain what all of that is. Come on, cook.
You can
Cooking,
you could
cook,
pause
cook,
if you like till it's good.
Well, we could do. We might, in fact, do that. Because I know as soon as I hit the pause button, it'll have finished.
Always
So
the way it works.
we we shall come back when our copper is ready for use. We'll see you then. Okay, so it's finished cooking. So I'll make a bit of space here. We will grab our pot and we will grab our pick, and we right click with the pot. See there, we've got 100 units of copper. So our 10 copper that we picked up off the ground has a value of 10 each, and that gives us the 100 that we need for a mould. Now, some of the nuggets that we will get later on as we start actually mining properly, normal mined nuggets are worth 20, and there is a vein of rich and a vein of poor nuggets, and they are, I think, 15 and 50 and 30, 30, 35. I can't remember
One
now.
of the two. Yeah.
Yeah,
We should have.
something
We
like
should
that.
have prepared that, shouldn't we?
We probably should have. Yes, I'll have a look at that and get back to you all next episode on what is and is not correct with that. So, wonderful day. It's a bit like it is here in our town today. Cold, wet, miserable and raining. And I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to break this mould. So I'll put that into the crafting table. Take the copper pick head axe, or pickaxe head, whichever. Put a stick on it, and there we go. We now have a copper proper pick. Oh, pretty. Hello.
Hello.
Hello down
I've
there.
just covered this over with glass. Made a double thick wall on the edge there so that I didn't have to use glass all the way.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm going to turn this into a nice big, by the looks of it. It's going to be actually quite big.
We might have trouble filling it.
Well,
It
yeah,
is
there is
big.
that. Although we do have a lot of wood, so
Have we?
yeah, fair bit.
Fair bit. Okay. So, coming back to here, from all of the nuggets that we found, this is about the centre, around about here somewhere. So we shall start and dig down. Now, one technique which is actually quite good is the 2 technique that you straddle, and that way you don't actually fall to your death if you happen to come across the top of a cavern, because caverns in TFC can be extremely deep and hurty at the bottom. So we just alternate left and right down like this, and we're looking for our copper ore. And generally speaking, rule of thumb, I go down to about level 121, 120, somewhere around there, and then I'll start branching out looking for copper. Well, see now, there's a thing that I would have fallen into had I not been doing what I was doing. So we'll go and have a look. Maybe we'll actually get a bit lucky and find the copper on this, and there it is down there. Look at that.
And you can actually get lucky quite easily if going straight down over
Yep.
the centre.
Yep. So here we go. This is copper ore. Mine it like that, and you see there it says native copper. Hold the shift key down, it's 25 units. So instead of our 10, which was the stuff we found on the surface, we're now getting 2.5 times that per nugget. So I will now fill up with copper. I might actually turn on magnet mode here because it is a hell of a lot easier. I can do things like that without having to worry about crawling in there to get it. So it's really just a practicality thing.
So just to mention,
Obviously, you get things like skeletons trying to sneak up on you, like that guy over there.
it's 4 o'clock,
Just,
Tosh. I'm assuming you're undercover.
I am underground, yes. Oh! And he's found me. Okay, so we basically run away until we can get to a point where it's a bit safer. Hoping he can't follow me up there. Because I don't have a weapon, so...
You could always nap yourself while you wait.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at what I've got here.
Don't tell me you went out with this.
Bloody limestone.
Well, yes, the limestone is a very soft rock.
I have got one dacite here
Oh,
though, and I'm not sure whether I've got that from down here.
I'm not
or...
sure where you got it from either, but it's a much better rock.
Yeah, I've only got one of them though. I've got nothing to hit against it.
Bit of a pity that.
Actually, that looks like it down there. So yeah, it's different colour. However, I shall make up a couple of hammers, and we shall go and have a chat to our little friend
You
down
could
there.
show them the javelin as well if you felt inclined.
Oh yes, javelin. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Not for skellies as such, but
no. So that's a stone javelin head. So 3 off the top, 3 off the bottom left, 3 off the top right, and 4 off here. Gives you that, and then you can put that on there, put a stick underneath it, and you have a javelin. So it's your first ranged weapon, I guess, is the best way to put that one, isn't it?
yeah. You don't have to throw it though. You can just hold on to it.
You can jab.
You can jab with it, but it's much better on creatures that aren't made of bones.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt this guy very much, but I will show you. So right click and hold back until it's in position, and then let go. So we hit him from up here, and he doesn't look overly impressed about that, because he's now firing sharp pointy things at me.
Which he was probably going to do anyway.
Pretty much. So let's go and see if we can persuade him to die. Ow, 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 and bugger, because that didn't work. So let's try the copper pickaxe. Okay, phew. I'd actually like to... yes, so took a bit of damage. Oh, and there's a guy with a javelin at me. They're nasty. You don't want to be mucking around with those guys. Especially when you're down to 249 health. And he's got armour, so... I have 16 native copper. Can I come back?
I see. Yes, you can, Tosh. That's what you're feeling is necessary.
Is it daytime yet?
No, you might be better to stay there if that's.
I might stay here then.
If you can keep going, it's only hour 21, so we just got tonight. I really just came back inside after chopping down a couple of trees.
Okay.
That many. You have a
right.
fairly large pit thing here to fill.
Yes. Problem is just because it's daylight comes doesn't mean he's going to go away.
When he's downstairs.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You're quite right.
We really need to... let's just keep an eye on him. Maybe he will go away. He has wandered off. A sneaky suspicion that he's just toying with me.
I can believe that.
He's just hiding out of range. Visual range as in... Yeah, there he is there. It's his feet hiding. Bugger. I do like stalactites though. Sorry, the stalagmites. Don't need all of our geographical people ringing or calling up and saying and shouting at me saying they're hanging down from the ceiling, they're stalagmites.
Yes, it's true. You probably don't need that.
No, I don't. And I think I just found the dacite. Yes, I did. How good of me.
Oh, well, you could bring back some of that. Wouldn't hurt either, you know.
Yeah, well, I can do that. And might even be able to kill two birds with one stone here and get a little bit more copper while getting some more dacite. Just not sure how much of each. I don't know, so far so good. No
How
dear.
you going for food and water?
Yeah, half food, so I'm right for that. I'll have an eat. You do get, what would you call it, debuffs, I suppose, for lack of food or lack of water. And the first thing that gets affected is your mining ability.
Yeah, it really is
So,
designed to make you go home.
yeah, yep, indeed. So I've managed to gather up a fair bit of stuff by sneaking around behind and underneath the skelly with the javelins. And I will keep picking away here. It won't get any better if I pick it, but we can try. Copper, oh dear. Copper veins tend to be quite large as a rule of thumb. Not all the time, but they do tend to be quite large in the amount of copper that you will get from one find. So that's a good thing. But copper is a fairly soft ore, so the stuff that we're actually going to make out of this isn't going to last a hell of a long time. But as you can see by the copper pick I'm using, it is lasting considerably longer than any of the stone stuff that we found, and I probably shouldn't have broken through there because that's where Mr. Skelly is. So now that one that just flew at me there, the dacite, is a complete block.
Ah,
Okay, because I mined around all of the edges, that's a solid dacite block as opposed to the dacite rock. You know, Raker will be madly scrambling at the wiki to find out whether or not that is one that we can actually use as.
will I? Will I just? I was actually about to say to you, I think, without having checked, that dacite is actually strong enough to make an anvil out of.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear you say. So that's a really good bonus, and that's sort of why I was trying to work around that one that was sticking out.
So did they actually get the message as to how you get those
Well,
out?
I'm about to show them how to do it again. So I'm going to try and get this one here out. So I take all around it, like so. Like so, and then that one, and that one, and off it pops. So we now have two of them there. So you basically need to isolate the block by itself and then cut it off at the last point from the back or whatever direction it happens to be, I guess.
Okay, so dacite is igneous extrusive, which can be used as an
Yay.
anvil. So any of the ones that are formed in volcanoes, the igneous group, can be
Yep.
used, are hard enough to be used as an anvil.
So that's our first anvil, which we'll be able to use to make, well, we could make copper armor on that if we wanted to. Depending on how long it takes us to find some other stuff, it may well be that we end up making copper armor. There have been a few games where I've played where that's as good as I've got. I just could not find any cassiterite or any of the other ores that you need to actually progress forward. And unfortunately, it's a step-by-step process, isn't it?
It
Really?
is. It is. You need to get your copper to get any further, and then you need to get bronze. Now there is
Yeah.
two bronzes, two different types of bronze.
Yep.
The simplest, of course, is copper and tin. Otherwise, you need to actually have three, don't you? Copper, zinc.
Yeah. And gold? What's the gold?
No, isn't it the other one? What is it? Beryllium?
Oh,
Bismuth.
bismuth,
Bismuth.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, bismuth. Yeah, there's, I think, about 10 different ore types. Maybe even more than that, actually, now that I think about it, but roughly about that. And you need to progress through. Now, what you eventually end up with, and I think we've only ever got there once, is a thing called blue steel and red steel. And they are fabulously hard metals, and I must admit the armour that you can make out of those really looks cool.
The the real challenge in TFC is that you need to get blue and red steel in order to make a bucket that can move a source block.
Source block, yes. So we can move water around just with wooden buckets, but not source blocks. You cannot move source blocks in TFC without a steel bucket. And it's just about the last thing that you're actually able to
Yeah,
make.
that's right. By the time you're making one of them,
It
you
really
really
doesn't
are
matter anyway.
terraforming the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do like the irony of that. I must admit, that appeals to me.
Well, it is one of those things where really infinite source blocks of water is probably not a big thing. So
Yeah.
fair enough.
And they are trying to work on, yeah, it's close to reality sort of things as they can in TFC. So it's not only how the devs and a lot of us think the game survival should be, but it's also about being realistic about it.
So 7 a.m. Tosh, you're welcome to
Okay, I will come back
come
out.
back out.
I'll actually just have a look and see how much copper I have got. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I get 4 more, that'll give me 10 stacks of copper, which should keep us going for a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so to get out of here, having dug my way down here, is back this way. And I need to get up there, I think. If memory serves correct. Which I'm kind of hoping it does. Oh, yep. And I need to do a jump. And then up we go and turn around and see. See, he didn't come back.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Alright, so back into a little hole here. And I'll place a piece of dirt. Ah, yes, you stupid idiot. Jump, and up we go. Now, the reason this is working is because I have 3 sides of the block held. I'm trying to think of the right word. Alright, otherwise gravity will take effect and it will fall down. So if I try to put another block there it goes all the way down to the bottom, and I'm now going to have trouble getting back down there. But that's another thing. I'll take a shovel, that'll fix that. So that's how you mine in the first instances of finding your surface ores. It's probably just as easy to demonstrate back here where we had the limonite. we had blocks of limonite, or blocks. We had little nuggets of limonite up here, all over the place. There's some over there. So you can see here, one there, and another one over here. So you'd sort of go, okay, well, that's the furthest one. And the other way we had, sort of roughly over there sort of thing. So somewhere in the middle you dig down and you find that, which is limonite, which is what we're after.
And the back door.
You do, yeah, I was going to say, you do know that you've got the back of your charcoal pit open to the air, don't you?
The back of the charcoal pit open to the air. Where's that?
Down there. Over
That's
here.
not the charcoal pit.
Oh, isn't it?
This is the charcoal pit here.
Oh, okay. Because you've got...
Yeah, I've opened the door to the limonite area
okay.
for you so that we can go out. I was going to suggest that you take them out and show them, but apparently you've done that from above, so whatever.
Yes. But there you go.
But it's only sort of half open at the moment. I've got it a little bit blocked off until we can cover in the surface. I don't want to do that with glass, but it's a lot of glass.
Yeah. So see there, we've got, that's the limonite there. So that's actually a really, really good example as to how it works.
Do you want to light the charcoal pit and
Yes,
show
I
them?
do.
You need to have something ready to put on top of the...
Okay, so you have placed all the charcoal, or placed all the wood, obviously.
Well, I have. I did close it in a little bit to make it a bit smaller for the initial...
Okay. So we have here solid, what do you got, 3x3?
No, it's actually, I think, 5x3.
Okay, so fairly big.
It is a fairly big one. I used all the wood we had.
Psst. Got a torch.
Yeah, you're telling me you're out of torches.
Well, there you go. Okay, so the trick here is to, first of all, turn off magnet mode.
Yes, if you've got that on, bad plan.
Yep. Second of all, you get a block of, well, sand in my case, by the look of it.
Okay. You sure you want to use sand?
Oh, no.
That might not... Well, I don't know whether that'll turn into glass or not. I have some...
I don't think so. Well, if you have a piece of graphite, of granite, of gravel.
Hey, I'm going to go with gravel. There you go.
Okay.
Have some.
That's fine. Thank you. So we go Q to chuck that in there. We give it a couple of seconds to go foof, like so, and then we cover it up. And we get these lovely black sparkly
And you want
things
to
coming off
take
it.
one step back? So,
One step back.
yeah, one bit of advice is I tend to find that if you leave a corner like that, so that the air can get in. So you're better to actually close it off fully.
Oh, entirely.
Yeah, so that there's no sort of place where the wood meets a corner of air.
Yep. So that's working perfectly. We can tell because of those particles coming off it. And tomorrow morning, again, I think it's 8 hours for
Something
those.
like that.
That will burn away, and you will hear it collapse as that piece of gravel collapses into the hole that is made by the burnt wood. And we will show you next time how we go about removing said charcoal.
So, yes, you can see, I did manage to get rid of most of our wood.
Yeah, I did actually notice that all of that was gone. I'm just going to have a drink. I want to be a second.
So the other thing I'll just quickly perhaps describe to them. So what you can do, what I did here was actually build a 2 thick wall of gravel. And as you say, if you've got 3, it will hold. So when you try to build something that's too thick as a wall with nothing on either side, it does tend to spread out a bit, but you can still build it up and then take the bits that have spread out, and you're left with a nice 2 thick wall that will actually hold itself up because it's got enough things around it.
Yep. Yeah, the key, as I said, is having three sides of it touching something, and then it will hold itself up.
So, should we get the copper rod?
Yes, we should. Do-da,
Now,
do-da.
how many molds have you got here? You've got a Pro Pick and two Pro Picks and one.
I haven't got anywhere near enough molds.
No, so we're going to have to cook up some molds as well.
Okay, so this is going to give us 16 times 25 times 4. So 25 times 4 is 100. 16 times 100 is going to give us 1,600 units of copper, which is 16 molds
Right,
worth.
so we've got two picks, two Pro Picks.
And probably not enough clay.
No, I got a
Is
pile
that the empty one? No,
of
is that
clay
the empty one?
here.
No,
It would
it's
help
empty
if
one.
I would
There's the empty one.
remembered that I'm taking it out in the inverse rather than the way you do it with stone. I shall make a couple of axes.
Okay, and yes, you are making molds. Now, this dacite, or 2 pieces of dacite that I got, where would we like our first anvil?
Ooh. That's a really good question. Do you want shovels out of copper? Or not bother?
Oh, look, you may as well. You may as well. I'll make our hammer out of dacite too. May as well give ourselves a reasonable chance of something lasting.
So now that we have copper, we can actually get weaponry.
Yes.
And that's
Swords!
it's one of the fairly
Swords!
important things to do. There's a lovely wiki page on wiki.terrafirmacraft.com that has got all of the things you need.
That's a nice plug. You got
I
shears or
just
something?
slid that in. You noticed, did you?
I did pick up on that. Yep.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Well, no, it's just, actually I
So,
was literally just opening it to make sure I had the correct molds for the mace.
and what was that web address again?
Wiki.terrafirmacraft.com.
Okay, so there you go. So that's the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Then, is it?
Well, I figure that since it's terrafirmacraft.com that it's obviously an official wiki.
I think you're pretty right with that. I think you're pretty right. Now, but by the way, you've just heard today's quote, so I expect to see lots of the answer to that question in the comments.
That was a bitty easy one. You're starting them off simple, are you?
Yeah, I am. It's a new series.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So, in answer to my question, where do we want the anvil?
That's a very good question.
It
And the problem is basically
yes.
it's pretty hard to move.
Yeah.
So shall we make this corner? We'll eventually replace this with the charcoal,
Furnaces
and stuff.
Yep.
So maybe somewhere in around that corner, you can easily.
What about here?
That'll do. We'll build around it. If you put it in the first three, then it can become. I was actually going to put it in the ground, but okay.
Why?
Because then it forms part of the charcoal pit. The forge.
Charcoal pit's over there.
Sorry, the forge.
Okay. All right. So we hit the top of that with right click with our hammer in our hand, and then we do it again, and then we again because obviously it didn't work the first time, and then we place the hammer in that spot there. And we will go through what all of these different things mean, so don't worry about that. And you can now see that that is an anvil because it's got the hammer on top there. So that's all officially an anvil now. And you just right click on to access the UI or user interface.
So apart from swords and maces, so the mace of course being for skellies, the other critical thing
is the Pro Pick.
Well, yes, we had that. The saw.
Oh, okay, yes, the other critical
Now,
thing.
what have we
correct.
got here, Josh? Where have you put the copper? Is that in this one here?
Copper's there. Yep, because these are
three things over there that I was wondering about.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't realise there was another jug in there, actually.
That was
I'll put
that
that
was
over
what
there,
I
out
wasn't
of the
too
way.
sure about.
Yeah, I'll go and fill these water jugs up. And we'll pop them over near the door or something. So that we have some if we need to go out somewhere. Yeah, for a night on the town or whatever.
I see.
Well, you never know.
Okay, so we have a saw, we have 2 mace, we have 2 shovels, we have 2 axes, we have 2 pro picks. You've already done a pro pick and a pick, which is why you only find one in there. 2 picks, 2 pro picks. We've got 2 chisels,
Saws?
1 saw. Generally,
Okay.
you don't get through that many saws.
No,
we
but by God, you need
Yeah,
them.
yeah, very important. Now, actually, so I think a scythe is critical to
Oh,
stop us having to
yes, for
pick up
sticks.
sticks.
Yep, very true, very true, very true.
And we're running out of clay, which is going to be a bit of a problem. We may have to
Running out of clay.
harvest some clay out of walls or things.
Running out of clay.
Well, I don't think there's any clay left in any of these. I've used just about all of it.
I've got some here.
So we've got 4. I've got 2 left in my hand, so
Oh,
8,
it's not much though.
12, 16. Okay, so we've got more things than we're going to be able to do.
Oh, it's okay.
And what else is on the list? Scythe. Maybe a second scythe? I haven't done knives, I haven't done a
Yeah,
javelin. I haven't
yeah,
done a
no, that's
hammer
right.
at this stage. But we do need a...
I want a hammer.
Well, you want a hammer?
I'm a hammer in the morning.
Well, we actually do need to make a copper hammer.
We do.
Do we?
We
No, we
do.
don't actually. Come back for bronze. No, it can't.
No, because you need
Still need to make
the copper hammer
still,
to make the
we need a
bronze.
copper hammer.
Yep. Step by step, remember?
Yes, okay, so there's a hammer.
Oops.
Okay, so if you've got enough clay, we've got an empty pit here, and we can make 4 of the just ingot molds.
The Mingot mold. Yeah, I was actually
8,
working
12,
towards showing them how to make those.
12. We've got 15, 17 things. So we've got enough things to use all the copper, which is really important that you have enough things to use all of the stuff you make.
Yeah, and you'll see
I've
why.
just made.
Oh, dear.
I've just made 2. We just need you to make 2 more of the
Shh, don't tell him.
what?
Yeah, keep talking. That's okay. Oh dear. You were supposed to keep talking.
There were 3, and
Oh,
very fortunately we have 3 glass, and that's it. We're out of glass now. We will have to cook more glass while this is cooking. But that's it.
So I shouldn't keep going then.
No, probably not. Just if you got enough to make another pair.
I have 23.
Just a pair of the normal ingot molds.
Okay.
Go.
So ingot molds are pretty simple. They're just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that gives you 2 clay molds. Or you can do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Doesn't matter which side you do them on. And they stack up to 8, I think, from memory.
Stick them in.
So where do you want those? In there? So shift right click. And I'll stick the other 2 over there.
Okay, so now we need some wood.
Yep. Now those molds, when they are cooked, obviously, will hold 100 units of metal. So the whole sort of thing is based around units of 100s.
All right. Well, I got 2 stacks. 2 stacks. Now you need another half a stack.
Okay.
So there is a decent chunk of wood and grass or straw that goes into this.
Yep.
So I don't think it's just about getting the copper. You need to prepare any other things as well.
Yep. There we go. Lovely. And I think that's probably a good point to finish
It
on.
probably is, and we can show them the making of the tools next time around.
Yep.
And
Because we're going to need a bit of time and all that stuff.
yep,
So
and by that stage, our charcoal should be done as well.
Yep.
Because it's happily sitting here bubbling away, I hope. Yes, it is. Excellent.
Good.
And so then we can get a charcoal forge going, which makes it really easy to cook up glass and stuff. And start down the path of making
tools. Tools. All right. Well, for now then, it's good night for me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
So good night.